Alright, and here we are for another dance lesson, this time in the shady basement. So, here we go. We're going to open up with stretching. Stretch your arm across your chest. We're stretching out our shoulders first. So, what is on the lesson roster today? And switch arms. What is on the lesson roster today is that we're going to end up tightening up those M's that we learned previously. We're going to do like a left, right, center thing with the chest, and then I'll kind of go over what I expect to do because I'm going to start choreographing. We're going to put our arm behind, like so, and try to pull your elbow as much towards the center of your head as possible. Again, if it hurts too much, don't do it. I'm going to start choreographing Wellerman sea shanty. It could be any sea shanty, but that one has a bunch of remixes right now, so seems like it's the best one to dance to. Switch arms and do the same thing. So, and I figure that choreography will be good for in case you want to dance it at like a weird nerd LARP, medieval, whatever. Or if we're just practicing, I tend to learn and teach better with a little bit more purpose. Alright. Gonna stretch out our obliques on the side. So, oblique, reach over, reach the other arm across. You should feel it all up and down this area. And switch. Alright. Stretch out our quads. So you're gonna pick up your leg, and we're gonna do two leg stretches like this. So pick up your leg, put it as much towards the small of your back as possible. Again, it's me just moving, trying to get it up as much as possible so you feel the nice stretch in your quad. Try to not angle it towards the side if at all possible. I know I just did, but that's only because it's weird for me to move and do this. And if you want to, you can lean forward kind of like how I'm doing, and it will give you a little bit more of a stretch. If you want to, you could reach out your hand all dramatically. It also helps balance you in case you happen to be one of those. Switch your feet. And if you feel like you are leaning forward too much, try to stand back up. The ideal goal is to press the foot into the small of your back while you're standing up, so you fully do it while standing type thing, and you'll feel it pretty much exclusively in your quads, and eventually we'll dip forward because that helps us with balance, and it also helps us just be more dramatic. So, other stretch we're going to do, pick up your leg, go to the side and lift it up as much as possible, and then you could just extend out your leg. If you have a wall or something to rest it on, you could do that. Try to get it as much at a 90-degree angle or above as possible. And we're right now stretching out your hip rotator, which is in that weird groin area. It's also the part that when you're doing hip work tends to get the most tired or beat up. Just because people are not used to moving necessarily their hips independently of their legs, depending on your level of physical activity. Even a lot of dance forms tend not to focus so much upon the isolation, so your legs are not used to keeping still while your hips are moving. So you're going to want to switch legs. Just casually go to rest on a wall. This one has a little bit less flexibility than the other one. But make sure you're stretching out both hip rotators because it will help. Make sure your leg is as straight as possible because then you're getting the full extension. If you want to press your flexibility, you're going to want a bar or a wall or something, and you basically put your foot up just a little bit higher than normally would, and you kind of hold it in place, sometimes using your hands if you want, because it will help. And then we're going to stop that. Now that your hips will be a little bit more flexed out, we're going to just go down into a squat. I am going to eventually do one that stretches out the front of your stomach, but go down into a squat. And then typically what you do is you actually kind of like bounce a little, because it actually helps warm up your muscles ready for movement. And I'm not counting at this particular one because we're not doing this for muscle growth. This is literally just, so my feet, I know you can't see them, are kind of standing on a horizontal platform, knees bent, and then kind of sitting all, I suppose I could move this camera just for a little bit, bent, and then you're kind of sitting like this and then bouncing. All right. And then, sorry, just making sure the camera's still filming. We're going to lean up with our arms, go like this if you can, but up, and then lean back for as much as you can. Make sure your neck stays not bent. Keep it stiff. And then lean back as much as possible. If you feel like you're about to lose balance, you can always, you don't want to swing your head up too far, because actually you might give your neck a little pinchy. You want to kind of follow the curve of your own spine. If you feel like you're like, oh no, I'm about to fall, guess what? You could just grab something behind you. Just make sure you're staying in that bend. And if you want to press it a little bit further, you could always lean back a little bit more. Just make sure you're not putting all the pressure upon your shoulders, but make sure that you should feel the tightness in your abs. And keeping your neck stiff will actually allow you to balance more. So, now that we pretty much stretched out, we're going to do a few circles and kind of go over the general M motion. So, we're going to just do the standard 8 count circles. So, we're going to go, pick a direction. I always start off right because that's just my instincts. And so you go, and it's a tight Egyptian circle, and then we'll do like a couple big Arabic ones. So, I always start right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we'll make it a little bit bigger and more pronounced. So, again, starting right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, what am I doing with my hand? What I'm doing is pinchy hands, grabbing up, and then just pulling. Pull, and then flicking my hand outwards. It generally, when you do moves like this, you don't want your arms to be dangling like limp noodles in front of you. So you end up doing things like making a gesture, like you're beckoning towards someone. This is the full gesture, which of course I cannot capture from this angle. Or you do something like this, where you like do pinchy hands. We're gonna do that towards the left side. And if you're doing pinchy hands with me, you do pinch, pinch, grab. I'm doing a little bit more ripples than probably you would want to at first, because ripples look pretty. So you grab, ripple, and then at the end, flick. You flick it away. Whee! We are flicking away our problems. Whee! Alright. Left it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Muscle memory wants me to go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is off on my count because I got so distracted with my hands and the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. And we're going to do like a couple chest circles same way, because one of the things that we're going to play today is like left, right, center with the chest, which will become a little bit more relevant later on. So we're definitely going to want to make sure our rib cages are nice and articulated. So we're just going to do a tight circle, none of the big circles, and just kind of get our rib cages warmed up. So once again, I'm going to start on the right. You don't have to, just make sure you're getting both sides equally, because you want to make sure you're getting even muscle development. So, and I start forward. There are different ways of starting it. Depends on the culture, depends on the individual teacher. There's no TM official way to do it. If you're just doing kind of a ambiguous fusion style, like we're doing, as opposed to specializing in a specific nationality. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's reverse it. I always still start with forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so previous to this, we learned giant exaggerated M's. For those of you just playing along, it would be forward, middle, back, forward, middle. So it's just like you're making a giant M with your hips. And then you switch hips. Because now that I've given demonstration 1, I'm going to show from the other side too. So, as this is obviously a greatly exaggerated thing, which has its own little uses. So, going to give a proper thing, so you kind of step 1 foot forward. So this is what it looks like from neutral. This is what it looks like from the side. It's going to be easier for me to show it. So my hip is a little bit angled at this point, and my foot is in, definitely means nothing. Let me just show this once again. 1 foot bent. That's going to be, this is my showing leg, and this is my other leg that is still slightly bent, but not nearly as dramatically. And that's going to be kind of our default hips for this time, because it's a nice showy thing. It shows off. Look at my hip. Look at my hip. Look at it. Look at it do its little tricks that I'm teaching it to do. Isn't it so fascinating? So keep it kind of within one plane. You're not moving your foot around, and you're going to just make so you're going to bounce your hip forward and kind of make them very contained. Will it feel like you're doing all that much? No, but that's going to be kind of the general gesture. Again, you should be able to take the invisible pencil on top of your hip and make a little M. You're just making a lowercase m this time, so that it kind of shows off. Am I going all the way to, it's kind of like neutral, forward, little tiny M's. And this will help us articulate our gestures, little tiny M's. Is it going to be immediately visible? No, but it will be if we wear coin belts, if we wear frilly scarves and stuff like that. You're just kind of making a gentle M motion and not moving our foot. Our foot is kind of planted a little bit forward. And it's only 1 foot right now. We're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's try to slow down. And you'll feel it a little bit more as you're rolling your hip upwards when you're slowing it down, because you will feel it if your muscles are a little bit out of practice or if your muscles are a little bit not developed in that way. So it is normal to feel it more and feel your imperfections more when you're doing it slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the general gesture. And you will definitely feel it a little bit more. I'm already exaggerating it a little bit too much because instinct says to do so. So again, you don't want to bounce your hip all the way to the backwards gesture. You're just going to kind of slowly lift and let it fall down to neutral. Make sure it's a controlled fall though. You're not just whoop, letting it drop. And then, now that we've done it a little bit slower, you're going to kind of pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which will be a little bit more practiced. You'll be able to cover up practices. You'll look a little bit more practiced typically, because speed helps conceal your imperfections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, let's switch legs. So, again, plant it a little bit forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're going to try to make sure your M's are staying roughly within the plane of your hands and not really touching it all that much. That's how your eye kind of signal. There is like a little tribal belly dance move that is pretty much like that, like, hey, look at my hip. But it's the easiest way to tell, like, hey, is it within this plane? Well, cool, I'll put my hands on one side, and as long as I'm not really touching my hands and my hands are not moving, I'm pretty much getting the gesture right. And again, it's all coming from my oblique. As you can see, my obliques are moving, I can feel them moving, and not really coming from my rib cage. And all the gesture is all oblique and butt. All oblique and butt. It is not coming from my leg, even though my leg's all bent and making it look real pretty. And then we're going to slow down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of bouncing it forward a little bit more and not really going back. I'm just kind of returning back to neutral. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to speed it up. So, keep my fingers on the plane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I realize some of the gestures are getting lost in the camera, but I can assure you I'm doing them. Just sometimes with forward, especially with the unornamented hip, these gestures will get a little bit harder to see. Okay. Shake it out. And again, shakes all come from the booty and the obliques. You are not moving your legs back and forth and pumping them because then you will damage your knees. Okay. So let's move on to some chest work, and then I'll teach you a few gestures that will be used during the Weller Rim choreography. Not quite within choreography yet, because I'm still writing them all down. But I'll plan on choreographing it like 20 seconds at a time, and then adjust as needed. So, we're now going to play left, right, and center, but with our gest. So, the gesture we are going to be making is an up motion. So, there are two gestures you make generally with ribcage, and I find it easiest to tell when you have a hand in front of your ribcage, just like, you know, like an inch. And you go forward, forward, up. Up will not move forward. Up, forward, up, forward, up, forward. And then there is the other move that is back, back, which is very hard because you don't want to tuck in your neck because then you look like a stupid turtle. You want to leave your neck pretty and extended like you're a graceful dancer or something, and go back where your shoulder blades will actually move outwards, and all the contraction will be right here in your diaphragm. Released. Forward. Neutral. Back. Neutral. Forward. Neutral. Back. Neutral. Forward. Neutral. Back. Neutral. Forward. Neutral. Back. Neutral. Up. Up. The general way it was once described to me was, oh, it's like someone's trying to flirt and stick their boobs right on top of a table so people could see. Whereas the up gesture is more like, what, bro? You want to fight? You want to fight? You want to fight? And then the back was like, oh no, please don't touch me. You're creepy. And then you just back away and feel your soul shrivel into itself. I don't know why, but those gestures helped me. So, for the left, right, and center game, what we're going to do, or game, exercise, drill, whatever, is it's all going to be up. But, so up, this is center, right? Both sides, right under my chin. What? You want to fight gesture? Up and up, up. You can see my rib cage is moving, my diaphragm is flexing. You can kind of see the weird pulsing gesture my stomach muscles are making, as opposed to outs. See, you're watching the stomach muscles, they look different. Up, up. So, the other one, similar to like a bump, like oop. So you're angling it, but it goes up. Angle up. So that's left. And then you go right. It's angled, but up at the same time. So, center, 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 left, 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 center, 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 right, 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 right. My hips are still straight. All the turning is happening in my ribcage as I'm going right, 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 center, left, right, center, left, right, center, left, right. Remember, your shoulders are pretty much not moving, so you could stick your hands on your hips, and yes, they will skeletally move, but they will not be directing anything. These are not prominent shoulder moves. You can make it dramatic shoulder moves by flexing them, but that's a different move. That's not the move we're doing. We're just doing ribcage isolations right now. We're not doing any shoulder moves. This isn't Bollywood style yet. Center, left, right, right, center, left, center, 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 right, 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 left, 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 left. Like a record player that's glitched somehow. Center, right, left, center, right, left, center, right, left, center, right, center, right, left, center, right, left, left, right, center, left, right, center. Okay. So, we've gotten ourselves a little bit more acclimated to moving our chest. And you could drill those times as many as you want, just kind of like go back and forth, saying center, left, right. There is like a call and response game you could do where just like you go around a circle and someone calls left, right, and center and everyone does it. Obviously it's a little bit harder via video, but that would be kind of where I would go from there. But other things we can learn right now. So, you see how we kind of know up, forward, and back? So, you can actually link all those together to create a horizontal roll for the chest. So, it goes forward, up, back, forward, up, back, forward, up, back, forward, up, back, forward, up, back. And make sure all your gestures are nice and defined, because even though it's easier to just go forward, back, down, it looks much more dramatic if you actually get the back down. And it will be a lot more TM proper and better for your muscle development if you actually get the backs down. Those tend to be the parts that people hate the most because they feel the most rigid and they're not the most like overtly easy move to get because it's all diaphragm contraction. And again, you have to watch yourself to make sure when you're going back, your neck doesn't tuck into your shell like a turtle. So, and then you reverse it. So it goes essentially back, forward, up, back, forward, up. Kind of creating a reverse roll. But again, my hips are not moving. My hips are staying exactly where they are. They will follow a little because, hey, my skeleton's connected. But the gesture is all coming from my chest. I'm not going to do like the TM counts because I'm just getting used to the movement. Next time we have the lesson, I'm going to count it out. So we're going to do the 8 counts slow, fast, and normal. But this is just to get you used to the fact that you can roll your rib cage now. So, going forward, up, and back. Forward, up, and back. And then you kind of go from back all the way to forward again. And you just kind of keep doing that over and over again. And if you go through those 3 gestures, eventually it just kind of looks like a rolling. You'll smooth it out over time, and it looks like a rolling gesture. And then you do it in reverse, which one will definitely be harder than the others, because it goes, back, up, forward, which, yes, looks a little bit ridiculous especially when I'm doing it so exaggerated like this. But it can be very useful in choreography, as long as you don't look like you're vomiting somewhere. And you're not engaging in your hips, you're going to stop it before reaching your hips. Body rolls are a thing, but that's not what we're practicing right now. We're just going to practice the ribcage first, and then we'll get the hips movement down next lesson. So, not this current upload. Because we're also going to learn at that point like camels and other hip rocking things. So, back up forward is the harder general roll. It also tends to be the one not like commonly practiced, so you're gonna feel like it's a little bit weird and square feeling at first rather than the fluid rolling gesture, So, back, up, forward, and like sometimes the forwards will be a little bit more pronounced, depends on your choreography, And make sure also you're not like scooting your chest to the side or anything. Keep it on a plane. Keep your hands on the side of your chest, your rib cage. I have a little bit more visual marker than like a guy, but you all got rib cages, so keep it on the side of the rib cage. And if you feel like you're moving away from your rib cage, like either distance wise or because your arms are not used to being in that level of control, or if you're like, oh no, my rib cage is touching my hands, just kind of correct yourself. That way you can keep yourself on a plane right now. We're not yet playing left, right, and center with rolling. We're just playing we just play that with lifts. We're not playing that with rolls yet. We're just getting used to the fact that our body can roll. And just our rib cage. No body, no hips, no full body, just our rib cage. Just our rib cage. Alright. And roll your shoulders if you need to. Feels a little bit tight. Make sure you're stretching out your stomach muscles. Another gesture that I intend on working into choreography is going to be a purely arm gesture. Because we briefly covered some things like pulling hands that to do with our hands before, and we'll just go a moment to go over that. You go like a little, you use your middle finger and your thumb, and you kind of pull like you're pulling on an invisible piece of taffy, and you just whee. Yes, I realize I said taffy, weird. And you pull it, and then at the end you could just kind of roll your hands, which is just kind of making weird jellyfishes with your hands. Whee. So, and we're making pulling gestures, pulling gestures, pulling gestures. So, in addition, so you're going to have your dancer's hands, which kind of look like dumb little llamas. You're going to, it's like you're holding an invisible pawn in chess between your fingers, and make sure none of your fingers are exactly straight with one another. Try to keep the tension as much as possible between your hands. And then you're going to go down like you're in an L. So the top, this is such a ridiculously hard thing to capture on a cell phone camera. So, forward. Your arm will be bent just a little. Boop, boop, boop. Bend the elbow. Do not keep it straight. Bend the elbow on top of your hand. It will be bent a little bit. The wrist will be a little bit taut, a little bit gentle curve, not like little tiny dead hand up the top, but not like, I'm scared. Keep it perfectly straight. Gentle curve. So then it just kind of makes this weird like L type shape. And this will be kind of what we're going to use during choreography for part of our framing. So you're going to go L, and you're going to, so part of our framing, you know, just so that we have something pretty to do with our hands while our hips are doing things. And all I was doing that time was just lifting and turning, which I'll explain how to do at a time. But in this time, you're going to make the graceful thing. See where I am? And then you're going to lean. Lean. See how my stomach is curving? You'll feel it all in your oblique. You're going to lean to one side and lean to the other side. And make sure that still bent, graceful curve, pretty little dancing hand. And leaning, leaning, and leaning. Leaning and leaning, leaning and leaning, leaning. Generally, you're not going to be looking straight ahead when you're doing this because it looks kind of dumb. You're going to be keeping your eyes trained on kind of slightly above your outstretched horizontal hand, so that you look kind of like a pretty little silhouette. Look at me, I look like a silhouette. Aren't I pretty? Yes, look at me. I'm a belly dancer. I'm so pretty and graceful, aren't I? Yes, so graceful. And eventually we'll combine that with a lunge. But this gesture, making sure that your stomach is comfortable leaning and moving between the two, is very important to get that movement feeling down. And again, this is the one we're not doing with counts right now. This is just to get us used to the fact that our body needs to be able to lean and go back and forth between the leans. Regarding how it is treated on this platform, this is just a side-to-side gesture. There is no forward and back motion. It is all side-to-side. We and we. You know? So, I think that is enough to cover this time, especially because usually chest rolls are a little bit more complicated for people to get. Mainly because a lot of people, your instinct, you want to move your hips with them, and it's learning how to stop that. So that, not to say you will never move your hips with a horizontal roll, but they move separately from one another. So usually that's a little bit more of what we're aiming for. And then I will end up, after the week after this, I'll end up uploading 20 seconds at a time Wellerman choreography, and we'll slowly end up choreographing the whole song. I'll give you guys links to the song version that I'm using to choreograph to. Yeah, I know English. Thank you.